cool experience to be in a packed stadium full of people who just genuinely, like are trying to be good people.
We need more people like that.
Like he's asking anybody out there who's like has suicidal thoughts or is dealing with depression or struggling real hard or having a death that they're trying to overcome to raise their hand. And they do, and everyone.
He's like, let's pray for all these people.
He asks everyone to
right
pray
now.
for him. So like that person would have a sea of people who could all touch them or leaning out and touch him like a huddle. And then around that, everyone who was even in the close to the area would just all put their hands towards him. And everyone's like praying. And the first time, I'm the only one not praying. I'm looking around. I'm like,
I look over at him and I'm
He's
like,
just like,
I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I was, because I'm always skeptical of everything.
yeah.
And then I start looking at all these people. Black people, cowboys, young, old, beautiful, crazy looking. And
so awesome.
they were really doing it with real intent.
Yep.
Intent is the key part right there.
There's none of the show stuff. Like in Brazil, when I was on my mission, I saw all the shit, like touching people and having them go into seizures and putting on the show and running around like they have the gift of tongues and they're speaking. I saw all the show, the theatrics, which turned me off to a lot of it. But this one was just normal.
Yeah. That's cool.
I was like, this is really cool. Anyway.
That's cool.
Okay,
get
sweet.
ready.
Um,
Number 55.
are you going to start us off or do you want me to start us
You
off?
can start us off, but I'm going to talk about the thing.
Oh, you're going to just come in.
Lazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are on video, but we don't really care about being perfectly polished. Like,
No.
let's just do a little boob grab in the middle to see if anyone's watching. That would be epic.
Yeah.
See if anyone's who the hell would be sitting there watching. But
I know. But
all we're
people
learning
do.
in this process
People do.
is that we don't know shit.
Yeah.
like-
Is that people do a lot of things.
Like our ad
that are
agency and
different.
these marketing experts are showing us these platforms of people that have these YouTube followings on podcasts of just
don't
millions
miss this.
of people.
I haven't gone a week without listening to their podcast in 3 years.
Yeah.
Their main platform for that is YouTube.
They take the audio from.
They totally do. They just upload it.
They just
But I'm like,
upload it.
it's so
But
interesting
it's-
because then that tells me there are
They're making a lot of money
Thousands.
off of YouTube.
right. There's thousands of people that watch it on their YouTube channel.
Thousands. That's like there's
Millions.
tens of millions. Like,
Yeah.
and-
Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying
but that's
is
how these
that's
all these
crazy
Utah
to me.
families make their money, just filming their lives.
And
Because
putting
it's
it on
all
YouTube.
these people in these concrete jungles, cities where they're just like looking at people's lives, like we would watch Seinfeld when we were younger or Friends.
Yeah.
Like
It's actually true.
it's just true. It's what they're watching.
Yeah,
You'd rather
'cause
watch that because it's real.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, so this is number 55.
yeah.
All right, we have to wait till that ding goes away. Ready? Okay, ready. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Your Living Proof podcast.
You guys, we are really actually stoked to be back, even though the weather in Utah might be trying to kill us all. It might be.
If you followed us, you know we live in Utah. We live in a beautiful place in Utah, nestled up near the mountains, but
It's
as
a
beautiful
struggle.
it is, there's hell to pay
Yeah. This
for
year
a
especially.
few months of the year.
And it goes back to what we said on last week's podcast, which is we need to all vote and we need to have Mental Health Awareness Month moved back
Yeah.
from May to February
March.
or March.
From May to
Either
March.
way.
Keep it with the M's.
Yeah.
May to March.
Great. Just bump it back because
No, it's
Dang.
true. It is very true. May's a beautiful time of year. Everything's coming back to life, regardless of where you live. But it's true. And it's one of the biggest initiatives, right? Every month has an initiative.
right.
No Shave November, or now it's No Porn November.
Yeah.
Each one has it. But Mental Health Awareness Month is becoming the number one trending initiative.
Yes.
We just need to move it from May to March when it's more applicable.
Okay, so before we get started,
We
you
didn't
guys,
even tell them. This is number 55. Like,
yeah,
if
this
you're-
is number 55, and it's going to be this is going to be a really amazing podcast.
Well, because if you listen to us, it's for probably no other reason than you're trying to help someone that you love who's suffering from an addiction. Maybe
Yes.
you are yourself, or it's someone that you care about who has a loved one suffering from addiction, trying to learn, like, how can we better help? Today, we're going to give you the number one component
Yep.
of overcoming an addiction. So there's the teaser.
Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. But before we get into it, I do want to tell you guys, I gave Danny something for Valentine's Day, which I don't normally do.
Pink
I don't.
panties.
No,
No, I'm just
no.
kidding.
I usually am not like the gift giver on Valentine's Day, but this year I wanted to surprise him and I bought us concert tickets.
I'm going to spoil it right there.
No, you're not.
She bought herself a Valentine's present. I just happened to be part of that gift
Okay.
to herself.
You know what? He's not wrong because I did debate. I was like, well, you know what? If he doesn't like have a
Yeah,
good
wait,
response
here's her
to
backup
this-
plan. Tell them this was hilarious.
What? That I was gonna just take my best friend. I was like, it's fine. Like if he doesn't act excited about
So
this,
if you,
I have a
if
backup.
you rewind to what you said at the very beginning, so I bought Danny for Valentine's.
But
No,
I did.
I
in
was
my
just
mind-
a possible participant.
You were my first ask.
Oh my
Okay, you
gosh,
were.
this
You were
is
first in
so
line.
crazy.
But again, I had a backup plan because I don't want to go with somebody that's reluctant to a concert that I'm like out of my mind excited about.
Yeah, okay, so carry
I
on.
bought tickets to Brandon Lake. And by the way, I did not just buy the tickets. I bought the VIP tickets so that we got to go to the meet and greet beforehand and all of the things. Be first in, like we are going to have the full experience because that's what I wanted.
Yeah, I was real skeptical
And if
about
you
that.
don't know who Brandon Lake is, I'm sorry for you, but you'll need to just go to your Spotify account right now and just type in Brandon Lake and then just be happy the whole day that you're listening to him because
He does have good stuff.
he's a worship singer, guys. Like he sings songs that I wish we would sing inside of our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because the way he praises Jesus lights my soul on fire, literally. So I bought those tickets. We went this weekend. It was the best experience ever. I do not regret the VIP experience. In fact, I'll never do it again without doing that. Just saying.
It was cool. I'm skeptical of those things all the time. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
He's
This
a
is gonna be
skeptic.
this is gonna be retarded. Like we're not gonna go in. Whatever. It's not gonna work the way it's supposed to. They always make this sound better than it's gonna be.
But you were wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. It was really amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah, like before the concert
I was just
started.
stoked to have 24 hours away from our kids.
Yeah, that was his main draw, and it's fine.
We do
But-
that often. Like we're not really great at going on long trips, but we try to have these little 24-hour dates.
Yeah.
Like we'll leave 5 o'clock one day and be back next day at 5 o'clock, and it's like this reset, 24 hours of just magical time.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing.
We made the
And
most of it. We drove a lot, but
Yes, we did.
tell them about the concert.
But the concert was so good, you guys. Like, first of all, he's actually good live. Like, he sounds even better live than he does on his albums, which is, as
True.
you know, rare. So he's like a true artist. And I don't know if you've ever been to a worship or like a gospel music concert, but if you haven't, highly recommend. It will change your life. Like it is worship in a way that most people they just don't get to experience. And it was like sharing a testimony and then singing the song and then explaining how he came to write these lyrics for this song and like the experience with God that led him to write those lyrics and then singing the song and the people that are all around you are feeling the Spirit so hard. And it's really powerful to be in a packed room of thousands and thousands of other people that literally came for one purpose, and it was seeking Jesus.
it was cool. Just seeking an uplifting, positive experience.
Yeah.
Wish there was more of it.
Yep. So good.
I stare at people. I like whether I go to the airport on vacation, wherever I'm at, ball games, I just stare at people.
He does.
I
It's
just
a
love.
problem. I'm
It's like
surprised he
and
doesn't
most
get
entertaining.
punched.
I think it's fascinating how different people there are, and this place was full of everything you could imagine.
Yep.
Every walk of life. And what was cool is, you go to places like that, maybe people are there to watch a performance. Like simultaneously, Taylor Swift was performing. It was like some
Yeah.
magical, like enormous concert
Yeah.
of some magnitude that was unheard of. But it was, or you're going to a ball game and you're trying to root for your team. But this was cool, just a packed arena full of people who were trying to be uplifted.
Yep.
Trying to be edified, trying to be inspired, trying to be motivated. It was cool.
It was so
So
good.
as much as I was
converted
skeptical,
Danny.
it was really cool.
Yes. By the end of the concert, he was doing what I had been doing from like the second I entered, which was like swaying and my arms are out and I'm like yelling along with the songs.
Yeah, couldn't deny it by
belting
the
it
end.
out. So
It was cool to do new things.
it was awesome.
It did help restore. For me, it was an opportunity to go and be like, wow, like everyone's here for a genuine divine purpose.
Yeah.
And as much as the news and social media portrays that everyone's, going down these dark paths, which a lot are, there's still a lot of people out there who are rooting and searching for good.
Yep.
It's cool.
Amen.
So I just want to remind everybody what we're trying to do here. Oh, and then we came back and just got slapped in the face and humiliated and humbled as
It's
parents.
true. Yes.
I don't know what happened. Yesterday was just it's those times where you're just like, oh my gosh, like, are we doing anything right as parents? Or they're all hungry, angry, lonely, tired, just
Yeah. That's just the way it is. It's
it
just,
is up and down.
Yep.
But reminding you what the purpose of this podcast is. Why are we here? What are we trying to do? What benefit can we give back to those listening? It's to support families and spouses who love someone struggling with addiction.
Yep.
Whether the addiction's still in secrecy, that you're the only one that knows, or that person you love has ridiculed your life and humiliated you in a way because it's fully exposed to the world to see the wreckage that they're causing. We want to help and support those families who are trying so hard to help that person.
Yep.
Because that person is hurting, that person is sick, but they're also affecting everyone else, right?
Yes. Yep. And that is literally like the purpose of our podcast is to help you best influence your loved one, even when they're fighting you tooth and nail.
Yeah, even
as
when
you're
they don't
trying
want
to
to
help.
Yep.
So I just want to say this is something that Danny says all of the time, and it is the truth. Like this is a fact. The biggest threat in the world to addiction is a family that learns to effectively intervene.
Keyword effectively.
Yes. And no one really knows how to do that.
Well, the reality is something always intervenes. Something has to intervene. It could be an accident. It could be death. It could be when it gets to the hands of a judge. But something has to intervene. So
Yes.
what better thing to intervene than your greatest asset that God gave you,
Right.
your family?
Yes. So why do so few people enter recovery from their addictions? Why?
Well, yeah, and to piggyback that, it's sad because we know behind every person struggling with addiction is a family that's suffering.
Yes.
Either some of the family or the entire family, but behind every person is a family that's suffering. So it's also why do so few families get to experience the redemption,
Yeah.
the joy of like redemption with
Yes.
their loved one.
Yes. And that's really an interesting thing because if you like look at the statistics and it's like 28 million people are struggling with addiction, then you have to take that and multiply it by at least 2, right? Because there's someone else that
It's
loves
either
them.
a parent or a spouse.
Yeah, but usually, several. So
It's a very good point, Blondie. You're a lot smarter sometimes than you come across.
Well.
Just kidding. She's so brilliant. It's ridiculous. Like kind of like a nerd. Like you look so beautiful, but she reads and studies more than anyone I've known.
so nerdy.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Serves
thanks.
its purpose. But here's the answer. Bum. What's the number one key or number one component to a person overcoming their addiction?
Yeah.
Time.
Time.
Time to heal. If there's anything you take away from this today, or maybe from all the times you've listened to us, please take that. It's time to heal. Well, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
A long-term plan of recovery is exactly that. It's a long-term plan to help support. It's supported and guided by not only you, if it's your spouse, or you, if it's your child. It's helped and supported by professionals
Yeah.
in
Takes-
many different regards. Like if you go to a facility to get help, you have like the clinical director, then you have like your primary care or therapist, then you have like your case manager, and then you have like other people in the community. So there's all these people to help support.
Yeah. It's a group effort.
But it's also all the barricades that are put around. Drug testing, accountability, so many things.
Yeah.
All of those in an effort to help someone heal over time. If you listen to the last podcast, we made an example of a physical injury.
Yeah. It was powerful.
And my wife's pointing out, did I miss the 2 reasons? Sorry. We're going to get into the 2 reasons that people don't get to time.
Okay.
Right? If the number one component is time to heal, well, then why aren't people getting there? Like what's
Yeah.
holding people back? I guess we could cover those now.
Yeah.
There's two reasons that people don't give their loved one or give themselves time to overcome their addictions. The two reasons are, one, they don't properly attempt.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever effort they ever do, if they do put in effort, isn't the right kind.
Yeah.
And then number two is they jump ship.
Yeah.
They jump ship before they've had time to heal. So in the last podcast, we gave the example. It's crazy.
You should go back and listen to it if you didn't, because it was really cool.
If your loved one, and I was just at the gym talking to someone this morning who's really struggling. And I said, you know what's interesting? We watched this guy walked in, had a big brace on his knee. Must have blown out his knee.
Yeah.
Had operations on his knee. As he walks in, it's like he can't even go 5 feet or go from one machine to the next because everyone's like asking and talking about it, and they're
Yeah.
aware. Why? Because there's this huge contraption on his busted knee.
Yeah.
Well, I know him, and I also know that the plan to repair this knee, it's going to be intensive. It's actually had a second surgery, and it's going to be months of physical rehabilitation.
Yeah.
It was a bad injury. So the diagnosis or the plan for recovery is intensive.
Yeah.
It transfers from a surgeon down to a doctor, down to a physical therapist, down to
His own commitment,
oh
right?
my gosh.
Like
And
his
everyone
time.
else in his family helping, picking up the pieces, carrying the weight, carrying the burden, supporting him, driving him, helping him, whatever.
Yeah. It's huge.
So I was talking to this person at the gym, and I said, what if someone was walking in here with a broken heart?
No one would know.
There's no gigantic brace to announce it and to invite other people to come in. No one would know what to say or do. A lot of people, if they were aware, would just like try to give them a pep talk and tell them to knock it off. And that.
Yeah.
So how we deal with physical injuries in our society is so incredible. We overcome things. Like, it's the most triumphant thing. People learn to walk again that were told that they would never walk again.
Yeah.
Families would uproot themselves. They would sell their house, sell their cars, quit their jobs, do whatever they had to do if their loved one was in an accident and broke their back.
Yeah. But when it comes to an emotional or spiritual wound that manifests in poor behavior, like
Yeah.
a poor coping skill, no one knows what to do, how to do it, what it means, who to talk to. Like, it's just kind of like this, what I would say is a fustercluck.
Yeah, Fustercluck. That's the brand of our farm eggs, by the way, if you've ever received or seen the eggs that we sell from our chickens.
Fustercluck Farms.
That's it. But here it is. Like, it is profound, but it's also so simple. If you were dying from something like a life-threatening illness like heart failure, or you were in a serious accident, one, do you think that you would ever fail to properly attempt to get the help necessary?
No,
you
you wouldn't.
You would execute everything for a proper attempt.
Yeah.
Two, would you tell the professionals helping you halfway through, no, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I don't need help anymore.
Right. So let's just break. I would love to break that down. Like, let's break down like the
Well, and it's-
non-attempt or
okay,
the improper attempt.
Yes, but
maybe.
before we do that, this is circling back to even like 2 episodes before. If your loved one's struggling with porn, if they have a sex addiction, if they're an alcoholic, if they are abusing all their prescription medication, whatever it is, you're fixating on that thing. That thing is the problem.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, that thing is not the problem. That thing is the solution that they
Yes.
found to their problem.
Yes. And you should go back and listen to that because it was powerful.
So behind that problem, that thing you hate and resent, that alcohol, that porn, whatever it is that your loved one's consuming, they're covering up something inside that's uncomfortable, unwanted,
Yep.
toxic, whatever.
Yeah. They don't know what to do with it.
Okay, so
yeah.
they're broken. It's not their back, but their heart or spirit is broken. So
Yeah.
getting into the 2 things.
Yeah. Then never properly attempt. Keyword properly.
Properly. Why don't they?
Yeah.
Well, we
Like-
just talked about some of the reasons. Because you can't see it. Doesn't carry the same weight. But there's also legitimate things. Like, there's the demands of life, right? Like, how am I going to stop and go get help? I got bills. I have a family. I have work. What am I going to do?
Yeah. I think that's a huge one. And especially for something that could be easily hidden, right? Like when you're a cocaine addict, when it gets really bad, it's very noticeable. But, when you're an alcoholic, you can fool people for a long time. And so if all of a sudden you're like, I'm not coming to work, then it's kind of like, what? Like, people are shocked. They don't know what to do.
But there's still, which leads us into the next one, there's this stigma and there's this shame around it.
Right. That's right.
You would never hesitate calling your employer to be like, oh my gosh, I was in an accident and I broke my back in 2 different places.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to come to work for a month.
I hope you guys can support me. I got to get better so I can come back to work. There's also the notion where people try to handle it in-house. And a lot of these kind of touch on each other, right? Like, you would never take the mentality of, oh, we'll just figure this out on our own. We're going to hush. We're going to brush this under the rug. We're going to try to handle this in-house if it was a physical injury. But when it's an emotional or spiritual wound, everybody tries to handle it in-house. They try to deal with it on their own.
Yeah. Yep.
Why? Think about what are the reasons? Like, what, you just spit it out? Like,
No, I really think
I think because
that-
they're embarrassed.
I was going to say, I think that the stigma and the shame has got to be like what trumps almost everything at that point, because it is officially pulling the fire alarm. Like, maybe you were aware that I kind of had a problem, but this problem is so overwhelming and big that I can't handle it on my own and I need professional help. And that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It is.
And there is also the factor that people just don't understand what to do.
Right.
There's a roadmap for physical injuries, but there's not really a roadmap for what to do when your loved one's struggling the way that they are.
Right.
Like, where am I supposed to, who would I first call? Like, what would I do?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, what's your first call?
is there an emergency room for this? Or is there a doctor's office for this? Like, it's
You're right. There's not a
confusing.
roadmap.
There's not a roadmap.
Yeah.
Which is what we've created.
Well, there is now, but yeah, there hasn't been.
So they don't understand what it will take. And had you not ever been through it, you wouldn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what to do.
Absolutely right. Yes. Huge point.
So that's that. We could go,
Yes.
I could go on for a while. The second reason is, and this one I really want to hit home because I think this resonates with most people.
Yep.
And it's that they jump ship before they've healed.
Yeah, and I think this is a major component that people don't see. They don't see it coming.
And I just want to quickly explain, like, my first time, this would have been a little over 17 years ago. My first attempt at treatment, like, it got bad, right? We talked about where you can't hide anymore. The problems out
Yeah.
there. Like, everyone was like, oh my gosh, like, we have to do something. So my family didn't effectively, but everyone in my life, like,
They intervened.
It was kind of a forced thing. Went, okay, great. I went to a treatment. It was an incredible experience. I was very resistant at first, but I went there. I had no choice. So I made the most of it. I did the typical Hollywood days stay. I was there like 28. Like, I was so stubborn, I didn't even stay the full 30 because I had to control the situation. I think I left on 28 or 29 days because it worked out on a perfect day to go. Here's something I want to share. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I remember leaving. My life was a mess when I entered, and when I left, I was changed.
Yeah.
I felt like myself again. I looked like myself again. The lights had turned on in my eyes. I could see a foot in front of my face.
Yeah.
I had all the hope and all the desire to change. I was changed.
Yeah.
During that time, I had some incredible breakthroughs. You have to remember, if your loved one goes and gets help, they are so entrenched in it. Like, very few experiences where you're that entrenched.
Yeah.
Like, I think people, like, for example, there's missionaries. They go to a missionary training center where they're so engulfed in it that they're going to, like, prepare them to go. If you're in the military or the armed service, you're going to go somewhere, boot camp, and you're so entrenched in it.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think like, finish telling your story, because
yes, I'm going to. But I was so entrenched in my recovery for the time that I was there.
Yeah.
I was changed. I had experiences that people in my life couldn't relate to.
Right.
I had breakthroughs. I had all these monumental moments, which is why when I left, I felt like I was better. So I'm walking up the staircase, the cement staircase of this place. I got my suitcase. I'm just ready to go home and get out of there and, just get back to life. And the director of the facility, his name's Gary, an incredible man, will always be this instrumental part in my life. He came up, grabbed me with both arms, looked me in the eyes, and he said, I'm so grateful for who you are today. And I'm grateful for the work that you've done. But I also know that if you go home and do not put into place what we've taught you or prepared you to do or what's necessary to continue healing, because he's like, I know you think you feel better and you're ready to get back to life. But if you don't continue to do what's necessary to heal, you will be lucky. Matter of fact, I don't think you'll be fortunate enough to make it back here.
Yeah.
I was like, what? With tears in his eyes, he's like, you'll probably die before you ever do. I was mad. I was like, dude, get out of my way. Like, thanks for your help. I love you, but I'm out. Went home. The points that I want to prove right here, it applied to every family, is when I came home, I believed I
Yeah.
was good.
It was a genuine, sincere, authentic belief.
But I was good. However, I didn't need to keep going. Like, they were talking about this extended program of doing this thing after and all these different steps down the road. No, I was good.
Yeah.
I was raised by goodly parents. I was educated. I knew how to go be successful. I just needed to get back to life. Like, I
Well-
needed to get back to living.
And from an outsider's perspective, I'm going, yeah, if I'm your mom or your girlfriend or whatever at the time, I'm like, yeah, let's get on with it. Like, I'm like I'm seeing the light in your eyes again, right? And I'm hopeful, and I'm like, oh, good. Like, yes, you're better. Like, let's go, right?
Well, you've also been hanging on by a thread of like,
Yeah.
hello, I need your help. I need your
Right,
support. Like, come on.
Yes.
And in a lot of families, they come home and they're like, hey, well, we're a month behind on our bills. Like,
Yeah.
we got to do this. Like, we're drowning.
Back in the
Because
trenches.
not only have you been gone for a month, but you've also been checked out for who knows how long.
Yes.
So they're so grateful to have another person back to help and support them.
Right.
It's time to get on with
So
life.
it's like a double buy-in, right? Like, it's like you believe that you're okay, and then the people that surround them are like relieved to see that you are okay.
Yeah, it is a double buy-in. And here's the dangerous part. Because all you've done to this point, all your loved ones done, all the effort that you've put in has just got you to the starting line of this marathon.
Yeah.
But you don't have the tools and the skills, nor have you had time to heal for all the mileposts ahead.
Yeah.
So this part is hard. People jump ship before they've had time to heal. And my gosh, as a society, we want things fixed now. We want change things now. I don't even care if you're severely overweight and you want to lose weight. What are we all looking for?
30 days.
The quickest, fastest way
Yeah.
to get it off. Bam!
Yeah. 30-day shred. Let's do it.
Nobody's interested until their hand's forced. And again, it's forced by deadly illness or physical injuries.
Right.
So I just want to backtrack to that story. Here's the ironic part. This incredible man almost called it to a T.
Yeah.
It was a few days short of 1 year to the date, just almost within the exact day that I was hauled back into that treatment center in a wheelchair, busted legs, weighed 100 pounds if I was lucky, all the veins in my body black,
Almost
felony possessions on my record, almost dead. And like he said, I was lucky to make it back.
dead. Yeah. And
Why?
your parents were lucky to pay again for the same treatment,
Yes.
right? And I think
Now
that's
that story is not unique in any way. If there's anything I've learned over time, is that a lot of people have done what they needed to have this heroic attempt, and it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
Because no one's aware of what it's going to take, nor do they want to accept what it's going to take to support them in the number one component, which we said at the beginning, which is time.
Yep.
Time to heal.
Yep.
It's difficult, and honestly, nothing crushes a spouse or parent's heart more. So there's two sides to this. There's the loved one, and then there's the person suffering in their addiction. Nothing crushes them more than these failed attempts.
Yeah.
Why? Because so much energy and effort was put into getting them hope. And then, like myself, speaking from the person suffering from addiction, you go and you actually regain hope again.
Yeah.
And then you come out and fail. What happens is you crush any loved one's heart, like, oh my gosh, all that was for nothing.
Yeah. Shattered.
And the person who tried starts to feel tainted.
Yep.
The
Broken even more.
broken even more. It just shoves you down into a darker hole than you were even before.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. And especially on the loved ones, it's just like what it took to get that person there and the hope that you had to maintain while they were in there, that this was, we were coming to an end of some sorts, right?
Yeah.
Only to have it completely ripped away.
Yeah.
and have all of that taken again, that is crushing. I mean, it's just discouraging. I think it's what keeps people from having any hope at all, is that story.
It is. And a lot of people just throw their hands up.
Yeah.
They get a case of the F-its. And it's funny because on that line, the F-its, right? Like where they're just like, screw it.
Yep.
That's also the purpose of these long-term plans.
Yeah.
That is the purpose. That there's so many. I could go on and on and on and on. A long-term plan gives them time to heal. It gives you the reassurance and the insurance. Well, sorry, gives you the insurance that they are going to have time. They're going to do this.
Yeah.
But it also gives them a chance to navigate through those days where they are so hard, those hard days.
Yeah.
There might be only 2 or 3 days.
Them.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days in a month where they just throw their hands up and they're like, F it. I can't get ahead of my bills. I can't get ahead of life. Like, this is not going to work. And if they don't have a plan in place, then they fall right back to what?
Yeah. The what they know
right
best.
back to what they know how to do best.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. That's actually the unfortunate but yet scary part too.
Yeah.
Most people who die from overdose or whatever it is, the substance they're consuming, it's when they relapse.
Yeah.
Because their bodies detox from what they were using. It's kind of reset
Yeah.
their body. And then they go back to using what they were before. That's how I lost some of my dear friends. And that's one of the most common stories I've heard. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Yes. From a absolute physical perspective, yes.
So what are the practical components to today's podcast? If you go back, hopefully it's understanding those 2 key components, right? If the number 1 component to people overcoming their addictions is time to heal, well, what is
keeping people from
what's
that?
keeping people from that? It's 2 things. 1, it's never properly attempting, meaning giving it the proper diagnosis.
Yeah.
And 2 is it's jumping ship before they've had time to heal.
Yep.
It takes some serious professional help to guide people through that process.
Yeah.
What we mentioned before, if you were broken, any sort of physical injury, it's happened to enough people that what have they done? The medical world has created what? Like,
yeah, like a whole.
here's a roadmap. Here's a blueprint of exactly what it's going to take.
Yep.
They hand it to them. Professionals help people see the path forward. It's the same thing in this concept. If your loved one's broken and you don't want to be the people that continue to go in and out of treatment, exhausting all your finances,
Yeah.
spending gobs of money and breaking your heart over and over, then learn how to do it, first of all, properly the first time, and how to support them
Yeah.
through the process.
Yeah. And I just have to say, like, that mystery that has existed for so long, where parents or spouses are like, what do I do? Like, what are the steps? What do I do? That exists now. You guys, we created it. That is what we do best. And that is what our course is. It's the playbook for exactly that. The answer to that question, the full experience from start to 2 years down the line of every single step that will be necessary, not only to do, but to stay adhered to throughout the entire journey, not just for the addicted loved one, but for the entire family.
Well, and
it's the both of them
Yep.
combined.
And when we're restructuring the business here shortly, relaunching Living Proof Recovery Services, and the program's incredible because until your loved one gets that proper attempt,
Yeah.
and
Everything
during
you
the
do is a
process of
waste.
healing, when they continue to fall and stumble and there's these trials, we've created this community aspect, which is going to be so powerful, where everyone can kind of just learn from one another to hear these common mistakes, common
Yep.
failures, so that they avoid doing it.
Yes.
There is no greater threat in the world to addiction than a family who learns to properly and effectively intervene.
Yes. And we are here, literally, we exist to help you do that.
Yeah.
Do
I
exactly
mean,
that.
living proof of that, and thankful that even though my family failed, eventually they did learn what it was going to take to stand united and to help provide tools and resources to heal. We've just fine-tuned that to be more consumable and easier to understand.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of it. So whether it's you that loves someone struggling with addiction, someone that you are close to that has a loved one struggling, please share this. Let them know that there's help and resources out there. We love you guys and hope you have a great week.
And in the meantime, go listen to Brandon Lake, you guys. Do
All right.
it. Okay.
That's a nice plug.
Have a good week.
See ya.